everyone, this is the channel AgileSeeker, and today my guest is Gillian Dowds. Am I pronouncing this right, Gillian?
Yes, you've got it.
Yeah, from BAE Digital Systems. So she's a senior project manager with a big extensive experience in the Royal Navy defense system. And also she was nominated for the PMI Future Leaders Honoree for 2020. I'm not forgetting anything from your regolist.
No, I think you've got it.
Okay, I see. Good. Thank you for accepting my invitation to share your experience, to share your career path. I do expect that this will be a very good conversation, and I hope that our channel listeners will gain a lot of insight, tricks, and tips from you. So thanks once again. So, couple of words how you get into this this profession, how you get it in this industry, project management and so stuff.
So, firstly, thank you for having me. I'm really grateful to be here. How did I get into it? It's a good question, and not a simple one. So, it was never really the plan. So I joined the military at 17. And that's where I started, and I served for 10 years. And then I decided to go off and do something else. And we talked a lot. It was quite hard because the military was all I really ever knew. You know, I was 17, so young when I joined. So going out into the big world where things are completely different, done a different way, was quite nerve-wracking. And it was, yeah, I was really nervous and didn't really know where to start. So I was looking at sort of different courses that I could do to expand my knowledge and my experience. And they talk a lot in the military about transferable skills. So, you know, you may, so when you read sort of job adverts and they list, you know, what it is that they're looking for, they talk a lot about, you know, looking at, you might not be an exact match, but there's probably something you've done previously that's, you know, doesn't use that word or that language, but you have it. And it's just about trying to match what you've done previous to sort of what they're looking for. And at first I thought I wanted to do events management, but the more and more I looked into it, I thought, no, I really want to, I think I can do this. You know, I think in the military, I might not have done what is sort of your traditional project management, you know, waterfall, agile, but in some sort of way, I have run sort of small projects. I have worked under pressure. I have worked with, you know, customer. I have set expectations. I have packaged things up and delivered it in sequence. I have led teams. I have done, you know, and all the different bits. So yeah, when I was talking about transferable skills and how I would use what I've done previously to fit into the wider world, it just, yeah, it felt like a really good fit and something that I was really, really interested in. So that's sort of the route I set off down when I was sort of transitioning from military life into civilian life.
Thanks. So it's quite actually unusual start for the project management to start from the Navy. I will open you a small secret. In our country, the military service is something like a sacred one. So we have an obligation to serve, like all.
Yeah.
So we have a special let's call it treatment for people who serve. So it's quite an unusual way to start the project management. And there are a lot of restrictions in there, starting from the security, which is obvious, and continuing with the stuff that you mentioned, yeah, for working with people who are like in a long sequence of deliveries and everything. So was it hard for you to start from such a hard industry? Because there is not much flexibility, in my opinion, in Navy. I mean, it's like pretty much everything is organized, everything is like strict. And there are certain expectations, yeah, about how the projects should be treated, how everything should be treated. Wasn't it hard to start from such a disciplined industry, or would you prepare to start for something else if you start over?
Oh, so I was prepared to start again. I absolutely knew I would be starting from scratch, and you know, you have to understand, I think, if you're doing a job change or changing to something completely different, you're no longer the expert. so there is a possibility you need to come back a little bit and start from the beginning. And I was absolutely more than willing to do that and to learn from the people around me. It was difficult, like, to get into, definitely, but I don't think that was based on my limitations or how I see myself. I was keen, I was eager. I came from that disciplined background, but I think that's only a positive. You're disciplined. I think project management needs that. It needs, you need to be self-disciplined, you need to drive things forward. I think the military background, even if it's just a year or two, gives you a massive advantage. And just, how you conduct your behavior and how you carry yourself and the values and stuff you take into every project. It was about how the world seen me, and breaking down those barriers. And it was really, really tough. And I remember I remember to this day like it was yesterday. So the whole sort of career fairs where you can go and speak to like different companies and, sell yourself, and, maybe they want to take you on. And I remember seeing one for project management, and it was an IT communications company, and I was really like keen to speak to this company, and they were taking on junior project managers, and I was really keen to go and speak to them. And I got up there and I had my CV ready, and I was keen, I was enthusiastic, and the guy was really, really rude to me. And he asked me what project management skills I had and what had project management in the past. And I was really honest. I said, well, I wouldn't have, probably not in your traditional sort of project management sense, have I done this, this, and this, but I have done this, this, and this. And it's not the same, but actually, it's very similar. And some of the things, if you think working under pressure and stuff, it's harder than probably what you're expecting of me. And I'm keen. I know I might have to take a couple of steps back. But I really want to get involved, and I really want to do this. I really want to do a good job. And he turned around and said to me, he's like, you're not a project manager, go away. And he literally, sent me away. And, I was, it was tough. It was really, really tough. And yeah, I took it really hard. And the first couple of interviews I had after that, it's filled with rejection, but I think you've got to believe in yourself and pick yourself back up and just know what you're capable of. And that is the only way you're gonna get forward. And if you see yourself in a certain way, you've got to force the world into seeing you that way as well, and just sell yourself. We're not very good at that as people. Yeah. We're not very good at selling ourselves, and yeah, I think that's just what you have to do. But yeah, it was a really tough start for me to move from one place into something completely different. But I got here, so if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually, this is a very good example about shifting from industry to industry, because this is the very common questions. People usually change the industry and they're afraid of change. This is like a natural human behavior. They are like afraid of change, afraid of that they won't get accepted to the new industry and so on, something like this. So this is like a perfect example for people to not afraid of. And I think of being that harsh, like saying about project management, is maybe some kind of a service. So it's about how you treat such kind of rejections, let's call it like this. So people shouldn't be like frustrated for that, I think. And honestly, what I'm thinking is that, and it's like a part of my next question, is that project management is like in itself, it's despite the fact that it's saying like this is a profession by itself, it's in its essence, it's like a set of skills. It's about how you solve things, how you get things done. So it's about it's not something that you can, like, I think, organically 100% to learn from somewhere, but rather to develop in yourself. So how was your so you successfully changed the profile, let's call it like this, went to the project management. How you evaluate your learning path about you are like in completely new industry, despite the like solid background and all this, everything with your experience. But once again, it's something new. So you need to, I do believe that you explore, there is some stuff to learn, some stuff to adjust, to fetch one to another. So how was your learning path? How you evaluate this? What was the first thing you realize you need to catch up, that you're missing in the profession?
Everything. So, so I did the basics. You know, I got in the textbooks. I did a couple of courses. So I did, you know, your standard Prince 2, Agile, Scaled Agile. I was reading the white papers. I was on the blogs. You know, I was on LinkedIn. I was reading other people's stories, trying to learn from them, and doing all of that. And in the background, so I was working full time, so 9 to 5, and then when I'd finish work at 5 o'clock, I would then go to business school at 6 o'clock, and I would go to night school, and I did that for 5 years so I could get my master's degree. So I would learn sort of the business acumen in the background, so I could you know, bring myself up to speed. So it was hard work, and don't get me wrong, there was times that I was in meetings and people would be having a conversation about something, and I hope they're not listening, and they would be talking about things and I'd be Googling it at the same time because I'm thinking, I don't know what you're talking about, you know, but you know, you have these tools at your fingertips, so use them. I also think there's, and it's interesting because I've been at Manchester, I was at Manchester Business School last week, and we talked a lot about this. There's a lot about being sort of an incomplete leader. So I think everybody thinks as a project manager, you need to have all the answers. I think you do have to have all the answers, as long as you know where to find the information and who can help you. Project management, I have been successful in my projects because of the team that is around me. I haven't done that alone. It's not a you know, a one-man game. Like, project management is about your project team, and I have been so lucky to have fantastic teams on the projects that I've delivered. It's a team sport, really, delivering a project. And so I might not have had all the answers, but I know who to go to, and I've got the right people to lean on to support me. And you know, I've made my way through the last couple of years by being really open and honest about the fact that if I don't know something, I don't pretend that I do know it. You know, I will hold my hands up and say, I don't have the answer to that, but let me go find out, or let me find somebody that can help you with that. And I've really sort of, pushed forward by just trying to break down barriers. I've not had all the answers for everything, whether it be, I'm not the best project manager in the world, I never will be, but I will absolutely do my best on every project that I sit on to help the team and move it forward. And I think, that. I don't even know if that answers your question. I feel like I just rabbited on a little bit there. Does that help?
First of all, everyone is Googling when someone is not understanding, catching this stuff. So this is pretty common. You can be like completely calm and honest with this. And the second one is what's it's very important that you highlighted. It's a teamwork. There is a common misconception, in my opinion, and this is what I've seen for the last 10 years, that many people treat project manager as a person who is like on the top of the hill, and he's like sees everything, and what's more important, solves everything and know all the answers. But it's like absolutely not there. It's because I think that project manager is the person who should show where is the door, but the team should open it. If you like speak in that way, some matrix language, let's call it like this. So this is very very interesting stuff, because I was participating in one summit with very famous agile coach from Britain, Joe Watts, with the servant leadership, and he was saying one very interesting stuff, and he was saying like organically the leadership and project managers, like the top project manager in past, was like this. So they're like putting every person on the top, and he was the person who knows everything about all the industry. If even he don't know the answers, he never shows that I don't know answer. I know everything. So this was the concept. And like during the time, I think this is organically changing. And the leader is not the person who is saying like, I know everything, you know nothing. It's about, I don't know this answer. Let's find out together. So this is I think the perfect evolution of the project manager. And many people I think that many people miss about this. And this is what do you think about this? I think because many people afraid that they on their first project, so they passed the theoretical knowledge, they weren't participating in a project, and sometimes they are afraid of taking responsibility of having all the answers. How a person, in your opinion, could break it inside for saying like, I don't know this, let's find out together? Because it's pretty difficult to say. What do you think? What's your opinion on that?
It is difficult to say. It is. It's difficult when you're, because as the project manager, you are accountable for delivering that project. So people expect you to have the answers. They expect that. They expect you to lead them and guide them. And we are, as project managers, we should be sort of leading the way and guiding the way. But I still think, one person, and whether that's the project manager or the CEO of a business, no one has all the answers. The prime minister, the president, they have people sort of guiding them on different things. They don't have all the answers. Why should we? But it's just it. And if you're confident in yourself and confident in your team, you should be able to say, well, you know what, I don't know that. Let me go find out for you, or yes, let's work it out together. And I think the reality is if you pretend you have all the answers or start to cover things up, things are going to get tricky down the line when you've said something that you might not actually know, or you've picked something that's wrong. It's best just to be upfront, cover that up front, rather than wait 5, 6 days, weeks, months, years, and for it to sort of unravel that you didn't know what you were talking about at that point, where you could have just asked someone, and got the answer and got the guidance. And I think you're right. It's in the project management and in business itself. Things are changing. Command and control style leadership is not the front runner anymore. We're changing to adapt our leadership styles based on the different situations that we're in. And don't get me wrong, there will be that time where your project is on fire, and you're under pressure, and you do just need to say to people, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do that? We're aiming for this, and make those decisions on the spot, because that's what your job is. But if you have the opportunity to sort of sit with your team and look at your options and discuss things, I think that's great. And plus, it gets their buy-in as well. They're bought into the project. They're bought into the deliverable. It's not just sort of you charging forward. You're moving towards the milestone as a team. Everybody's more bought into it. Everybody knows what they're doing. And at the end of the day, the quality of that deliverable can only be higher than if you're just sort of, trying to push people down that avenue.
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting point. Usually in the projects, the time when you should push the people and say project is on fire is always unexpected, and everyone is expecting answers from you. This is the most critical part, and this is the part when like the project manager should prove himself. But I do believe that even in these tough times, the backbone of the project is still the team. Because if the team is resistant, if the team is not accepting the urgency, the risks, they are not sharing the responsibility, this ownership for the project, the decisions of the project manager should have value behind. So they should have this trust and responsibility. So we are ending up for like entire teamwork on the place. So I usually say to my students and people that are asking, like, if you don't have a good team, you are not a good project manager. It's always like this. No matter what kind of project, multi-million project you have like completed, it's always for the team. Even there is a one saying interesting. I don't know if I invented it, but I think I just saw it somewhere and then I liked it. It's saying like, if the project fails, there is always responsibility of project manager. If the project succeeded, the good thing is to give credit for the team.
Yeah.
So it's something we should accept of, I guess, as a project managers about this.
Yeah.
This is something.
It's one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the benefits, let's call it like this, of our job. So I was looking your LinkedIn profile and seeing that after everything you moved to the Fujitsu, and it was a remote position. And yeah, so is that so? Am I correct? Am I missing something?
So, and I have to be just careful because obviously it's defence contracts. I need to be just careful with some of my
Okay.
some of my information. So, the first project. So I had two positions in Fujitsu. So I joined there and took on a really large £17 million project. That was the first one that I picked up there, and it wasn't. It was remote in the fact that I worked on the project. I was there. I wasn't sort of in the office 9 to 5.
Okay, so you started working remote even before this whole COVID stuff starts.
Yeah, yeah.
So you are prepared.
Well, I'm not sure if anything could have prepared us for this.
I see. So how was your experience from moving on from let's call it on site, let's call it like full contact with the team, because mostly people are saying that working remotely, it's a complete different universe because you are lost in connection with the team. So what your things about this, like this chemistry between the team and the project manager? How not to lose this by moving to the remote, because the world is going remote right now. I see this tendency, and I think this is very essential skill to have. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's really, really difficult actually. So I've kind of experienced it twice now. So the first time, yes, was in Fujitsu, and it's when I was remote on the project, so out of the office. So you're kind of isolated. You're already isolated from who you can speak to about the project, because you can't tell the details to people. So you're already a really small team who knows the project, that can talk about it together. But communication is the key to that, and just staying in your sort of tight-knit team. And then when you then kind of feel isolated from the office and sort of some of the functional support that comes from there. So I guess it's just about trying to keep that door open and make sure that those conversations are still happening, and you're still getting involved in things maybe outside the project that you can get involved with, sort of some other sort of business functional stuff. Was really how we dealt with it. Well, how I dealt with it that time. The second time that I've dealt with it, so I joined BAE Systems actually just as we went into lockdown. So I can probably count on my hands how many people in the business I have met face to face. So the projects that I'm working on now, I've never met hardly any of the project team, and it's really, really difficult. I didn't think it was going to be so difficult, but it really, really is. And we had a kickoff meeting for one of our projects today, and I was saying the same thing, like, open up those lines of communication, clear your diary, make space for people, even if it's just 10-15 minutes. We have to keep these conversations going, because it's really easy to hide behind email. Really easy just to ping off an email and carry on with what you're doing. But you miss those couple of minute conversations, and I think that's not only does it stop the team working in silos, it builds team rapport, and team rapport in a project is so important. You have to trust each other as a team, and I have people you're trying to bring together that have maybe never met each other before, and if you can't get them in a room and understand their mannerisms, or and you're just sort of reading things from behind an email, and everybody takes things completely differently, reads it differently. The things come across in ways that they were maybe never intended. I'm really, with the teams now, I'm really keen. I'm like, let's get some team building exercises, even if it's just a coffee and a catch up WebEx for 15 minutes, where we can all pause midday, get ourselves a coffee, and just have a chat and try and build some of that team rapport and do something together outside the project, so we can try and sort of come together and provide that team support just as individuals, that you naturally do in an office that now remotely you barely speak to anyone if you've not got a 30-minute Skype call booked with them, and it's so strange.
Yeah, it's actually very strange because usually I had a tradition, let's call it, because you may know about your team and about ongoing project processes and project progress, but by the coffee cup, like in the kitchen, like this 10-15 minutes that you are mentioning, even sooner than on a stand-up or any other catch-up or like catch-up meeting or a kickoff meeting. These are like extremely important couple of minutes because many people like tend to neglect. And by doing remote, I'm feeling that this chemistry is a bit disappearing. Why? I was talking with one agile coach, Nigel Baker, and he was saying one interesting stuff. Saying when you are coaching, and like coaching for me is like organic, going outside from the project management because you need to know to coach something. Yeah, let's call it like it. You're saying when I'm trying to coach people, when I'm like working offline, when I talk with the people, I'm trying to be big because I need to reach everyone in the room. When you are in the online, you are reaching specific person. You might miss the emotions of others. Even on the Zoom calls, if it is one too many, and project manager is usually he's single and he's like talking to many people, you might miss the emotional part of the job. Seeing who is frustrated, who doesn't today have the moods for like complete execution of the task. And for the online, this will be, I think, the most challenging part of the next couple of years. Even before, after the lockdown, I think this will be still tricky because the world is going to remote. What do you think? Will the remote like take over offline projects, or it's like just couple of companies, couple of industries, or like couple of project managers behavior will be? So it's like whoever wants to work remote, whoever wants to work on site. I'm not talking about only the COVID part, after COVID life. What's your opinion on that? Will it be remote or it's like coming back to normal?
So I think there'll be a mix, and I think it'll be a good mix. So I think there are some things, especially on a project, that cannot be done remotely. There is nothing like being sat down face to face with your customer. Nothing. There is nothing like being sat down face to face with your project team, trying to whiteboard things, get things out in the open, especially if you're dealing with it with a problem. When you're in a room, you have everyone's attention. You don't know what people are doing at home. They could be hoovering as they're sort of, doing the housework as they're, on the call. You don't know what people are doing. You don't know how much attention got. So I think there will be certain times where it will be necessary to be in the office, and there'll be certain events that you need to be present for. But I think it also leads into this balance where there might be certain parts of the country where we're struggling for a skill set. And now we've proved that that skill set might not need to be in the office 5 days a week. So I could maybe hire someone in a different country or, 500 miles away that is the best fit for that role, who now does not have to up sticks and move their family life or change their whole life to be part of the company. Now, that's opened up to us. So I think we should be able to get a really, really good mix. It's changed. I think it's changed things forever. I think there will come a point, maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, where we will fall back into norms and lots of people will start heading back into the office. But I do think if the business manages it correctly, we can get a really, really good balance. Because again, for business as well, things are difficult in offices as sort of companies grow. So you're looking at, car parking spaces and sizes of buildings. That's just not going to be a problem anymore if you can, manage it correctly and, get the right balance of people at home versus people in the office. But I think as long as you make sure you're getting the people in the office for those really key events, I don't think working remotely should pose us so much of a problem.
Yeah, I do. I perfectly agree with you because this change everything, whatever we have now. I mean, Many offices even come back to normal, and still they are like working remote, because for them, obviously for a bad purpose, but this was an experiment to test if the team they manage is able to work remotely. And some of the teams succeeded, and they like performing even better because they have now more time to spend with their families, more time to spend at their home from comfort of their home. So I think this will be continuing anyway, and the world will adapt. And there's obviously, I think, certain industries that still like require presence of the team, presence of the project manager. So it will be a mix, but one way or another, everything is changing. One thing I wanted to think that, so you were part of the PMI 50 honoree. How did it start? How PMI started work with you? So how was this process? How this selection process went?
So I think it started maybe the year before. So let me think. So the project that I'd previously done in Fujitsu, it was one of those projects that people said couldn't be done. There's no chance, couldn't be done. But actually, I say me, but when I mean the royal we. So me and the project team that were on that project, we delivered it 6 months ahead of schedule on £2 million under budget. So we did really, really well. And we got a commendation award from the defence, and actually we were one of the first suppliers to defence to get a commendation award. It's not usually known, so that was really good. So that was flagged, and then I did a different project for Fujitsu, an agile project that also went really, really well. And then I was picked up from the Ex-Forces in Business and named Rising Star of the Year, Ex-Forces in Business Awards. So I think it probably started about there. That's when they started asking questions at PMI about the projects I had delivered and what I had done on them. And they asked me to send in sort of a bio of the stats of projects I had delivered previously. So I sent all of that to them. And then, yeah, I was really, really surprised, shocked to make the list of the Future 50. I mean, there's some incredible people on there that have done incredible things. And I was kind of humbled to be, even associated with those people, because obviously our careers have been completely different. But so that's kind of where we started and how we got off.
What was your first impression of getting this award? Because it's actually a huge thing. It outlines like a world-class specialist from the various industries. I was looking through this list, and I perfectly agree that I see a lot of remarkable people in there who are doing amazing stuff. So what was your first emotion on this? And how this award changed your professional life?
First emotion was shock. Like I said, there's some really, really remarkable people on there, and they've done really, really incredible things. And again, I sort of highlight that the people on there, I mean, if you have a look, some of the projects and stuff that they've worked on are life-changing. Some of the things that they've done are completely life-changing, and I'm really honoured now that we've got a WhatsApp group between us, and I keep up to date with the things that they're achieving, and they're phenomenal people. But again, I highlight the point that I ended up on that list not because I'm the best project manager in the world, not because I have all the answers, not because I'm an IT genius, but because of the projects that I have delivered have been really successful, and that's just how I've made my way, by just trying to be that person that pushes down barriers and helps the team and drive things forward. And that's why I was nominated and got the award, because that's what I do, and I can do it quite well, or I have previously in the past done it quite well. so again, yeah, it just kind of shows to me that I'm now comfortable knowing that, and knowing that that is recognized. It just, you know, cements my thoughts that I don't need to be the IT genius. You know, I don't need to have all the answers. As long as I am the person that pushes forward and drives a team and does what I can, you know, I don't have to have all the courses. I don't have to, you know, have all the knowledge. I don't have to have all the answers, because the projects I've done previously have been successful, and people have acknowledged that. You know, it's been acknowledged for me. And again, I always go back to having come from something completely different, and that one person at that time told me to go home. I wasn't a project manager and never be a project manager. I just think, yeah.
I think he's now shocked also.
Yeah, and again, if I can do it, you know, anybody can do it. That these paths are open to everyone. You can come from a completely different industry and you can make an impact in a new one. And again, you don't have to have done all the courses in the world. You don't have to have done all the degrees, have all the education, have all the answers. It's just about, for me, it's just about wanting to do well, keen to help the team, you know, and trying to be successful in everything that I do. And I think as long as you come with that energy and that passion, it's, you know, it's available for everybody. And I'm so grateful it was recognized. And I guess probably for your students as well. But one of the things for me is people coming out of the military, they sometimes find themselves in that really awkward position where it's all they've ever known, and they're not so confident in themselves to move into a new career. And I just thought, because I've done that, if I can show other people that it is possible, and if one person takes away from that to say, well, maybe I can do it too. If she can do it, I can do it. Then yeah, I'm happy.
Yes. How was the team reaction? How did your team reacted to this award? Have you celebrated, at least with the team?
Not yet, because I kind of got it in COVID. So
I see.
yes, yeah, it came through in COVID. So no, not quite yet. But you know, people have been so lovely with sort of emails and messages on LinkedIn. And you know, just chatting on the phone. Everybody was so pleased for me. And yeah, again, I accept it kind of humbly, knowing that I couldn't have done that by myself. Do you know
But
it?
you certainly did it by yourself. Being humble and just does mean to acknowledge your effort for all the paths that you got from the beginning, when someone told you that the project management is not yours, until now. Yeah, so it is something that needs to be acknowledged. So what's your plans for the future with this? You are going to the second time, the nominee, or it's or it's a single time?
I think it's a one-time thing. So
I see. Yeah, there are a lot of remarkable people in there, and about some of them I heard even before, even outside the project management, that they are doing really life-changing stuff. So I think this is very good that this kind of people get together, because they are changing the lives, changing the future of the project management itself. Because project management itself, it's currently we're having an evolution. Let's call it like this. Yeah. And there is a people who are driving this forward, because sometimes I get this question from the students that how long should I learn to be a good project manager? And I think like my answer is usually like forever, because what does it actually means to be a good project manager? It's something that you hardly can evaluate, because you always can evaluate the projects of the successful and everything, but it's something that is other people, your team, your clients, your management, people that surrounds you during the project. This is something they should say. It's like something what I was thinking about this. So one thing I wanted to ask is about what do you advise for the people who are just stepping in the profession? They might not shift the profession. They might be like very young to just step in, like after the graduating university. They are stepping in project management, and they have this myth that it requires very strong character, and it's like you should always know everything. You should always tell people what to do. What will be your advice from the top of your career?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say three things, I think. For me personally, I think experience trumps certificates. So get involved, get involved. Some of the best project managers on my team now, so, and other people that I know, so some of the best project managers are born out of failure, because that's where you learn, that's where the learn is. If you fail at something, you never do it again, you never do it that way again. And I think, you know, get involved in anything that you can, you know, get as much experience as possible, and really concentrate on sort of, you know, wherever it is that you can bring value, and learn. And yeah, that would be the second point. So probably actually one point, but you know, be a sponge. There are so many people around you that have done it before. You know, you are not the first and you will not be the last. So be a sponge, learn from these people around you, learn from their mistakes, make new mistakes, because we all do, you know, and learn from those, and, you know, listen to other people's experiences. And, you know, again, you don't have all the answers. You probably never have all the answers, but people around you do. So learn from them, and you know, you can't go far wrong from doing that. And I did have a last one, and it's gone. What did I say? I said learn from the people around you. Experience trumps certificates. Lost it.
Yeah, so we can remember, can I ask you about the certificate? There is a misconception about should person have a certificate in project management, or it's not obligatory. There is always this myth that a project manager should have a certificate. So it's interesting. What's your opinion on this? Is there is obligatory for this, or it's just something to make you feel more confident in the beginning of your path?
So I think a certificate is great. Certificates are great because it means you've done the theory. But that's what you've done, the theory. And it's good to have theory, and it's good to have that sort of basis of knowledge. But if I look back to when, and I can only speak from my experience, so somebody might call me out and say I'm completely wrong, but from my experience, I remember doing Prince 2 course. And can I regurgitate the information and pass an exam? Yes, I can. Did I know what I was talking about? Not a clue, until I took that theory and put it into practice in a live environment. But the theory was there for me to rely on. Do you know what I mean? So when I got into the situation, I still had the knowledge of what I'd done on the course. So I could say, that's what that means, or that's how I should be doing that, or that's what we talked about there. So I think if you have the opportunity to get it, to get a certificate, absolutely, you know, do it. But you don't have to have 5 certificates and 5 different methodologies. And you know, if you've got a base knowledge that you can rely upon, that's really great. But there's also other stuff. So when I'm interviewing people for my team now, there are certain things that I look for. And the first thing might not be, well, I do look to see if they've got experience, but there's other things like, can I put you in front of a customer? You know, can you deal with a customer? You know, you know, the way you present yourself, can you deal with a customer? How do you react under pressure? You know, if the pressure is on, are you going to guide that team? Because we all know if we get into a meeting and the project manager is flapping, the whole team are going to flap. You know, you need to be the cool, calm, steady head. What is your finance management like? I need to know that I can rely on the team to manage finances, do it properly, and be on top of that. What's your planning and organizational skills like in practice? And these are some things that a certificate just can't tell you. You know, how are you going to gel with the team? What's your leadership style? Those kind of things that I think it's hard to say, because obviously I always want someone with that basis of knowledge that they can pull on. But if I interviewed someone and they didn't have a project management certificate, but they were ticking all the other boxes for me, and I thought, fantastic, I think the other stuff could be learned on the job or get you some experience, I'd probably pick that every time over a certificate. But if you've got the opportunity to do a course, then absolutely do it. It only make it easier for yourself.
Yeah, I perfectly agree with you, actually, because the certificate basically states, for me, I mean, even if you are not hiring, if you're just barely know a person who will work with you in the team, the certificate states that you at least know what you are talking about in terms of theory. But it's just something written in the book. If you don't know how to apply it, everyone heard the terminology of roadmap. But can you create it? Can you maintain it? Which is much important. So I think it's a combination of two. If you are like starting in the profession, it might be a very good option to get, I think, the certificate, because in that way it might be easier for you to find your path in the project manager, because some of the employers will say, okay, for the junior positions, I think when a project manager becomes more experienced, it's kind of not losing the value. I'm not saying it's losing the value. I think it's changed the meaning for the project manager. So it's not, I got my PMP like 4 years ago, but before that I was managing projects like 7 years. And it was like, I was exactly in the same boat as you are saying. It's like, oh, so it's called like this, but I was doing this like 5 years in a row. I didn't know that it was called the roadmap. I didn't know it was called the work breakdown structure. So it's something new for me. So now it's like a multiplier of one on another. So it's a perfect thing, I think, to do. One thing I always ask my guests is about what will be your, let's call it, final advice for people who are afraid of changing the profession. Yeah, so not the newcomers, but basically it's the same like the newcomers, but people who are like tired of their routine work, they want to change, they find project management something which is interesting, why not fun? Yeah, and it takes courage to be a project manager. What will be your advice for the people, how to go beyond the limits?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's hard, and it's nerve-wracking, and I completely get it, because I've been there, and I know how scary it can be to take that leap of faith and to jump. But if there's anything they can take from this, is that I've done it, and I'm still here, and I'm still getting by. And if I can do it, it can be done. So it can be done. So you've got to believe in yourself. There are times you will need to have a thick skin, because I'm not saying there's not going to be rejection. Like I said at the very start, I went through rejection after rejection after rejection. But to come from that rejection, to be sent home by someone and told I'd never be a PM, to go on to be, PMI's Future50, and not a whole lot of years, it's proof that it can be done. And like I said, I'm not exceptional. I'm not the best in the room. I try and bring good energy, good enthusiasm, and the will to do well, and learn from the people around me as much as I possibly can, and have faith in my team. And if anyone can do that, go for it. Take the leap, because you're going to be successful. You just You have to believe in yourself, and until you believe in yourself, no one else will. So you've got to start there and just know you can do it and go for it.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Gillian. It was an amazing advice. Actually, I do believe that people will follow it, and I hope I will be able to update you in future about people who change their career because of this interview.
I love that.
Yeah, thanks for this amazing opportunity to host you on our channel, and I wish you best of luck in your future career, and I do hope to make another session, maybe for another topic. So thank you very much for finding time and to sharing your paths, your obstacles, the experience. I really loved it, and I hope to cooperate and work with you in the future. This will be one of my future goals list. I have my own, maybe you have a PMI Future50, I have my future goals list. So it will be definitely one of them. Thank you very much. And I hope to see you in future. Dear channel listener, this was the channel AgileSeeker, and today we were hosting Gillian Dowds. She shared her experience. Thank you very much. We're ending this conversation for now. Thanks.